Hey guys, welcome to episode 3 of KaYOUmanggi, and this is solo episode because frankly, every Wednesday I decided that we're going to be doing just solo episodes. This is just so you get to know more about me because during the regular episodes, I'm with my friends and I'm a host, so I have to perform the duties of a host. I have to like keep the flow going. I have to like ask questions, not talk that much, like interject whenever needed. But you never get the chance to really know who's the guy behind all this. So yeah, that's what Wednesdays are gonna be about. It's a solo episode of KaYOUmanggi. And talking about KaYOUmanggi, how did I get into this? Why did I get into this? How did I get to think of the title? And yeah, the story behind everything. So basically, I'm just in an era in my life where I'm trying to express creatively. I'm trying to express my creativity, and I'm just doing the shit that I want to do. Because I've been wanting to do a podcast since November of last year, 2022, and during that time I was in a relationship, and to keep it short, it did not work out, and I wasn't really able to do all the things that I wanted to do during that time, and now I am. So here it goes. It's gonna be my kind of like my therapy, and just talking to people, talking to the camera, and putting myself out there, right? And it never actually hit me how podcasting is such a skill or it's a talent. I used to just watch podcasts like American comedians podcasts, and I would watch them and I'd go, "It's actually too easy, right?" I thought it was everything was too easy. I thought that you just sit in front of a camera and talk and try to make entertaining banter, try to make each other laugh, try to make the audience laugh. I thought that was it, but turns out it's actually quite a lot more than that. There's a lot of planning that goes behind it, even now, look at the camera quality. It sucks because I'm using my laptop camera. I actually have two good cameras here that I'm too lazy to use. One of them actually is acting up right now, so I tried to set it up, but I couldn't get to use it. But the other one, I had to do, I had to buy a special cable and everything. So let's just stick with simplicity and stick with this shitty ass low qual camera for now. But anyways, podcasting is such a skill. The the talent and the communication skills that you need to be able to talk straight out for 2 hours, 3 hours, without making while making sense and without dead air is amazing. Actually, I've realized that now. It's not a small feat. So, and also you have to be interesting as a person as well. So you have to be a deep person in some ways and an entertaining person, or just one or the other. There are some podcasts where you can feel how deep the person really is just by them talking, and you can kind of surmise or infer that this person has gone through a lot, and this person has many stories to tell. Sometimes the hosts just bank on knowledge instead of wisdom, right? So they just do a lot of research on the topics that they're going to be talking about, and they're going to be good at talking about those topics because they prepared beforehand. Sometimes it's just pure entertainment, right? It's just pure comedy, laughing, laughing with each other, or if you're just alone, making jokes, cracking jokes, being on stream, being live, right? Reading the comments, roasting people. So I can't go that route. Really, that's not my cup of tea because my creativity is kind of weird. It's not the creativity that you look at me and then you'll see that, oh, this guy's creative. You never see me paint a painting or choreograph a dance or sing a song really well. I mean, I like to sing, but I'm not really good at it. So what happens is that my creativity is expressed in different ways. I like poetry. I write poems. I like writing, but my handwriting sucks. So I guess I'll just stick to speaking now. I actually used to compete in impromptu speaking back when I was in elementary school and even in my senior high school days. Um, I competed in regionals for that. Didn't win though because I pretended to get sick. This is actually a weird story because I was so nervous to go to nationals uh, with that competition. I just thought that, oh my gosh, I'm gonna fucking lose when I get there. So what I did was the day before the competition, um, I ate a lot of street food, and I noticed that it was gonna rain, so I purposefully didn't open my umbrella, and I just took a little shower in the rain. And during the nighttime, I didn't really take any vitamins or meds. I just made sure to get sick the next day. And sure enough, I was really freaking sick the next day. So I called in my teacher. I told her that I wouldn't be able to make it. And she freaked out, right? Because her competitor is not going to be able to make it to nationals. And they just left without me. And that's one of the things that I regret the most, not being able to compete there. Because who knows, right? I might have won or placed third or second or something. But that was the time in my life where I believed that I had skill in such things, but I wasn't confident enough. And I recently like noticed or realized like every single successful person, no matter their personality type, they could be an introvert, an extrovert, they could be very conscientious or not, or open to ideas or not. But the common denominator is always that they are not afraid to put their skills out there. They're not afraid to be self confident, and they're not afraid to trust themselves. Because ultimately, we all have a certain amount of skill or talent within us. It, we just need to unlock it by trusting ourselves more, right? By not fearing being embarrassed or not fearing being judged by others. And this might be a simple lesson to learn, but if you think about it, really, most of the things that are holding you back is just your own mind, right? Because who's gonna hurt you if you fail at something? No one really is, right? And I think that's where creativity shines, right? That's where your creativity will shine and will show itself. Because at the end of the day, what is creativity but a way of self-expression, right? Um, See, I have poems here that I can actually read out. Some of them I haven't put out. Some of them I have, but just in case you haven't heard of them, I'd like to read some of them out to you. So I'll read some of them out, and then I'll give a little backstory and explain what the fuck I'm talking about. So here, this one is titled "The Discomfort of a Perfectly Cold Bed." So here it goes. We fear cold beds more than cold meals. We fear lone meals more than bad deals. We fear living alone more than living at all. We fear having no aid more than being afraid. We fear loneliness more than disease. And we fear our own thoughts more than death. This is what I was talking about when I say that our greatest enemies are often our minds, ourselves, right? And this is the negative impact or the negative or the cons of the human condition. We always feel anxious when we're alone. We don't want to face our own thoughts. We don't want to sit there in silence, just not look at phones or social media or watch something. Just stay still and be with our own thoughts, right? It's so horrible to even think about it. When was the last time you went to the toilet, took a shit, without your phone in hand, right? When was that? When did that last happen to you, or when did you last do that? We never do it anymore because we're so afraid of the possibility of being anxious, just because we're alone. And it's terrible that um, our generation and even future generations have to deal with this. And because if you think about it, like when old people notice that phenomenon, and they'll go like juvenoia takes over them, and they'll go, why is your generation this, and why are you all doing that, and why is it so hard for you to focus, right? But if you think about it, if they were born in the same year that we were born in, they'd probably be just as addicted to social media and to technology as we are. It's just that they did not have that beast during that time. There was a different beast during their time. It might have been poverty or hardship or war, or for some other people, it's academic pressure. We still have those things today. It's just that those things have been diminished due to development of the world, and what's magnified right now is social media and technology, right? Even now, you're watching this on a social media platform, right? But hopefully, with this one, you'll be able to learn something. Hopefully, because ultimately, what I'm doing here is just saying words that I think I'll need to hear. I'm not here to teach you a lesson or help you. I don't give a fuck like who you are. I don't even know you. Or maybe I do. But this is ultimately just for me. I'm just putting myself out there to prove a point to me, my greatest enemy. I'm putting myself out there to tell myself that, yeah, I can do it. I can do this. I can not give a shit what other people think. I can put myself out there and show the world really how knowledgeable I can be or how wise I can be. I can show the world how creative I can be. This is just me putting myself out there. And as this goes on, we're gonna be having a lot of other solo episodes. So you guys just tune in and let's talk about some of the poems that are left here. I actually have to read more. Let's see. Uh, this is one I really like, and apparently other people like as well. This is 5 rules for a peaceful life. So basically, what I did here is I just kind of summarized things that I've learned during the past month. So here it goes. 5 rules for a peaceful life. 5 times a day, practice some gratitude. For your own good, don't have a hateful attitude. 3, be the best version of you that you can be. Oh, fuck, I ruined that. Too much worrying about what you can't control is a no. 1, life is all you have, so be in love with it and live. You could just watch the video on my TikTok. But basically, um, with this piece, what I was trying to do was, like I said, summarize everything that I've learned, right? But also, it's kind of a mixture of technical and creative prowess combined with wisdom, ultimately. Because if you peel back the layers, I'm trying to do a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 scheme on that shit, and maybe people could say that you could have rhymed more or you could have been more technically proficient. But recently, writing poetry, I realized that um, the technical aspect of it is not as important as the message or the content or what you're saying. Because if you looked at my older poems, which I didn't release or I didn't put out there, um, they're m- they're more technically sound. Like there's a lot of internal rhymes going on. The structure is very sound and it's well thought of, right? It, but what happens is the content gets lost. The message, the feeling gets lost. It doesn't translate as well when you're reading it out. And I want to read out my poems so that the world can kind of feel how I feel at that moment. I'm trying to evoke feelings. So being technically proficient at that specific type of writing sometimes is a downfall. If you're trying to do, if what you're trying to do is evoke feelings. So that's it. Like for example, if I write a poem that's about heartbreak, I want the audience to know that I'm going through heartbreak right now. I want you to feel it with me, right? But in some poems, especially in the past, I would write a poem about heartbreak, and then I'll just freaking keep internal rhyming, and I'll just keep word playing and use as many figures of speech as I can, and it's just junk at that point. It's just it's like action movies. In the same way that action movies are kind of junk for your brain, like if you just want to turn your brain off, watch a movie, not pay attention, and just see good looking stuff, like see explosions, punching and stuff, then you watch an action movie, a crappy action movie. action movies that are really good, like with a good story. Like Sicario is a really good action movie. I wouldn't exactly call it like a proper action movie, but yeah, as compared to like something like Fast and Furious, where it's a popcorn movie. You just eat popcorn and watch it. It doesn't matter really if you know the story, but you know, I'm a huge fan still. I watch Fast and Furious a lot. Um, Not really because I think that there's a deeper meaning or they're like hidden messages that I need to find out. It's just really entertaining, and that's what happens when you're too technically focused on something, right? You need somewhat of a perfect balance. Like, if you ever watched the movie The Raid, that movie is goated. Like, sheesh, that movie is real goated. So if you ever get the chance to watching it, watch The Raid and then The Raid 2. It has great choreo. The fight scenes are great. Technically, very proficiently shot movie. Um, effective, um, effective evoking of emotions for the shots, and then the story is really great. There's a lot of important themes in there, like family, politics, crime, and then struggle. There's a hero story that's going on in the background, and then there's motivation because the character is trying to fight not just for his country or for what he thinks is right, but also for his family that he left back home. That movie is great. So something like that would be really good. That's a perfect balance of technical prowess, creativity, and then message or content. But what does content really do for us? If you think about it, like we're talking about art here, right? So films, painting, music, poetry, literature. Why is content so important? And what about content makes it so interesting that we want to tune in and there's just a collective agreement that yes, this thing is good. Because if you ever notice, like, if you're watching Infinity War, if you've seen Infinity War, it's like a blockbuster popcorn movie, but it's also good at the same time. Why is there a collective? Yeah, that's really good. It's not just because of the scenes or the color grading or the CGI or the action or the dialogue. It's not just because of that. Um, it's because there's authenticity to it. Authenticity makes or breaks art. And what I mean by authenticity is not always telling the truth. It's authenticity is not as linked to truth as we think it is, or perhaps authenticity isn't as related to reality as we thought it is. Maybe it's linked to truth, yes, but just by a little bit. And maybe truth isn't what we think it really is, because we often think of things that are true as things that are real, but true doesn't equal real. Um, we all have our own truths, right? Truths are more arbitrary than reality. So, what I'm saying here when I say that art needs authenticity in content to be good, what I mean is that if we look at art and we kind of feel what the artist wants us to feel, that's authentic enough. You get what I'm saying? Like a good song feels authentic. It feels real. If you ever listen to Ed Sheeran, any of his songs, like even the popular ones, like there's a difference between listening to Supermarket Flowers by Ed Sheeran and then listening to Shape of You by Ed Sheeran. If you listen to Shape of You, like, sure, he might believe what he's saying, or that might have been something that really happened, but it sounds like you just want to dance to it. It's a good song, technically, right? In technical terms, it's really good. It's good production, solid lyrics, and then good writing, right? It's a pop song. It's one of his. It's actually his biggest song. Supermarket Flowers is a really good song in terms of content because it's authentic. You feel the feelings he wants you to feel. Now, all the details in the song might not have been real, but it feels authentic to us, right? Same with his other song, the A Team. One of his, I think that's his first popular song ever. It's the same formula that Taylor Swift uses. Taylor Swift is an authentic writer, authentic songwriter. Now, all the details in her song might not be real or in line with reality, just for the sake of the song, but all her songs kind of feel authentic. But then there are poppier songs that you listen from her, and then you kind of think to yourself like, this is a bop, but I'm not feeling this. Now, that's what I'm trying to get at when I say that authenticity makes or breaks art. And the interesting thing is, authenticity is also kind of the secret to life, right? Like right now, um, I'm just literally spitting out whatever is coming at my mind, coming from my mind at this moment, and you kind of feel the authenticness of it or the authenticity of it. You kind of feel how true the words are that I'm saying, even if I'm not looking at a stat sheet or I'm not looking at any research papers right now to prove my claims. You kind of feel it, right? It feels true to you. There's that gut feeling that whatever this guy's saying is true because it feels real. And then we get to the question, what is reality at some point, right? Is reality what our physical senses tell us, or is there a standard for it? Is there a basis for it? Like for example, like the colors that we see aren't even, you're not even really sure if that's how the colors look for other people because you never climb behind their eyes and look at their point of view. In the same way, we can never really distinguish what reality is until we just accept what we're feeling and we just accept that whatever this is, this has to be real, right? So in some ways, our dreams can kind of be real. And I guess this is kind of linked to philosophical saying, very popular philosophical saying by Rene, my, that guy, you know who that guy is. He said, I think, therefore I am, right? And when he said that, a lot of us kind of attribute the meaning as if we're thinking, we must be existing. But is that really just what that means? There might be something more to it, right? I think, therefore I am. Does that mean that you're just, is that only applied to situations where you question your existence and then you validate it by saying that if I could think, then I am probably real, or I must be real, I must be me. Maybe it's not a question of epistemology. Maybe it's something more, right? Maybe it's another level of philosophy behind that saying. Maybe when he says, I think, therefore I am, it's not just about trusting your cognitive state and looking at it as a proof of your existence, but maybe it's a way to validate what we think is real. Maybe it's a way to tell ourselves that we get to choose our own truths. We get to choose what is real for us or not. Now, I get it. You know, if you're a pragmatic person or you're living in the real world, this idea does not work. Because you might say this, right? But no matter how hard you try to think something up, it never becomes real. What I'm talking about here is perspective and perception. From your perspective and from your perception, you can't really control what happens to you. You can never really control the things that go on in your life. There's very little control in life, actually. And what we can control is our reactions to whatever happens. Like, I was in a motorcycle accident 2-3 months ago, and I can really control what happened on that road. Some guy or some girl dropped her helmet on the road, got crushed by a truck, flew at my face, and flew into my wheels, and then I crashed. Right? I had no control of that. What I can't control and what I did control was my reaction to the incident. I didn't panic. I was just chill. Yes, my knee was busted and I was deeply scarred, like physically scarred, and my scooter was on top of me and it was heavy. And I thought I was gonna die, but I controlled how I reacted. Right? I couldn't control what happened, but I controlled how I reacted. So I guess that's the lesson for us. Is it's a little bit of stoicism in there, right? Um, we can only control what we can, because ultimately we can't mess with reality or how the world works, right? And now this brings us to the question of if there's very little control, if we have little to no control of how we are living and what happens in our lives, then is free will even real? Does free will even exist? Okay. So there are many perspectives to take on this. Let's let's kind of dive into this. Um, let's assume that um, the Christian God is real, right? Under that universe, under that world, it says in the Bible that we are beings with free will. But at the same time, God has predestined our paths. He has plans for us, assuming that everything that the Bible says is real, right? So, if God knows what will happen next, and if He has written everything in existence, because He is omniscient and omnipotent, and also omnipresent, so that means that everything that we will do, He has already written out. So, did we really decide to do those things? Like if I decide to like grab this mic with my other hand like that, according to the Bible, God written that out. It's been predestined. That was part of His plan, and He knew that it would happen. So was that really my free will, or was that God acting? God like was that God's writing coming into action? You get what I'm saying? So there's kind of a paradox there, considering free will. And even if we did assume that all the supernatural things and divine beings are not real, right? If we assume that no religion is real, there's still a struggle or there's still a paradox of free will. Because ultimately, in psychology, there are many theories that suggest where our actions come from. Do we really decide how we act, or is everything just a physical response? Like love, for example. Do we really choose who to love, or are we just very influenced by the biology of other people? Like we see them physically, we're attracted. We smell their pheromones, our body doesn't know that we're going to be attracted to them. And then we're going to be attached one day. Then we're going to develop neurochemical addictions to them. So on and so forth until we make them our own world. We get our hearts broken and everything. Did we really decide to do that? Or was that just our body and science happening? So at this point, nothing is kind of real, right? It's kind of hard to decide what is reality. Or maybe, just maybe there are multiple ways to look at reality. Maybe there's more than just one bridge to get to this island. Maybe there are different ways of looking at the same thing, right? Maybe all of those theories are true. Maybe none of them are true. What we don't know is what we don't know. And that's the tough thing about life. Um, if you kind of know too much, or if your intelligence quotient goes up by a certain limit, you're kind of more prone to psychological illnesses and psychological problems because you're going to be thinking a lot. And this is where thinking, or the ability to think, the ability to be cognitive, the ability to be intelligent is a curse. Wisdom is kind of a curse because the more you think, the more you think bad things. It's just a numbers game. It's a statistical game. Um, Say that an average person, and I don't know if any of these numbers are true, but let's just assume, right? Let's assume that an average person has 50 thoughts every minute. And then a person with the intelligence is a curse uh, situation happening to them has 120 thoughts per minute. So on an average person, those 50 thoughts, let's say 50-50, right? 25-25. Let's say half of those thoughts are good thoughts or neutral thoughts, and the other half are just negative. The other half are detrimental to that person. So every minute, that person gets 25 thoughts that are detrimental to him or her, and then or they, and then they also get uh 25 thoughts that are good or neutral for them. Already that's kind of, that's kind of imbalanced, but it's easier to deal with than if you're looking at someone who thinks 120 thoughts a minute. And if you split by 50-50, like 60 negative thoughts versus 60 neutral or positive thoughts, what's going to happen is that you're going to find out that the person who thinks more obviously is going to think more bad things, or is going to think more harmful things, more detrimental things, whether it be concepts or just intrusive thoughts or just things that will ruin our day, right? That's why people with higher IQs are more prone to depression and anxiety, because there's a lot there's a lot of stuff to gather from. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot of negativity that comes into their minds a lot. And I used to think that actually that intelligence was everything. I was raised in a family that really valued skill and intelligence. That's why I grew up this way. That's why I grew up being a fascinated person, being a curious person, being a person who likes to learn. Because again, free will. Did I have free will to be this person, or was I kind of taught to be this person, right? Anyways, we're out of that subject. Um, but let's just look into it. So I was born, and then I was kind of raised to like learning and to be interested in science and the process of learning itself. And so what happened was, there were tons of negative things that I have thought of, even in the past, like deeply personal stuff that I did or almost did that would have hurt me or worse, killed me. And the way that I think about these things is I just got to a place where I kind of accepted everything. I'm kind of in an era in my life where I'm just very stoic about things. I might be very expressive or extroverted or very friendly or very, you know, chaotic and cheerful and gregarious, whatever adjectives I can think of. But deep down, I kind of am a person who's stoic now. I just look at things and decide whether to feel something intense or not, depending on the situation. And most of the times, I just leave it up to the universe. I just go ahead and um, look at something that happens to me, and then I just say, well, what can I do? Right? For example, that breakup that happened uh, about 2 months ago now. That was something that really destroyed me, but at the same time, it was, and I can say this right now very authentically. At the same time, it destroyed me, and it was also the best thing that happened to me, because I feel like I unlocked a new level. I'm so I'm so deeply happy for myself that that happened, because something always felt wrong during those months leading up to their breakup. Something felt wrong and something felt off. I always felt like something was missing in my life, and I was kind of stuck in one place. I felt like I would have I would have been doing what I'd been doing for years and years to come, because I lost myself. Instead of becoming me, I just became someone's partner. And that's what wrecked me. And even, like, it was unfair to me, and it was also unfair to my partner, because, you know, if your partner loses themselves, you wouldn't want to be with them if you know that you're causing them harm, right? That wouldn't be love anymore. It would just be attachment and infatuation. So I think it was the right choice. Well, I know it was the right choice to do that. And Right now, I'm at a place where I'm really, really happy. I'm happy to put myself out there. I'm happy to express myself. I'm happy to gain back some of my creativities, some of my skills, and I'm happy to get back on my peak because I know that I'm young and I have a lot to learn and I have a lot to experience, and I'm ready to experience those things. So yeah, I guess this is the point where you're probably watching and now you're realizing, oh, that's what he meant when he said that people can be deep if we just listen to them. We never know really who's that person who's gonna change our lives because there's so many people in this world. You just walk down the street, you see a bunch of people, you don't know them, right? Like if someone was probably gonna give you a choice, like I'm gonna give you a huge amount of money, but this person has to not exist, not die, but just not exist, and this person was a stranger to you, you'd probably go, okay, I'm fine, or probably not if you're a really good person. But that within itself just shows how important connections are. Because if you just start a conversation with a random person, start a conversation, get to know their name, um, their family setup, and then spend some time with them, eventually they're going to transition from being a stranger to someone you care about. Because they have their own life stories, they have their own flaws. This person might be deeper than you think. You might like this person, like even as a friend. And that's something I realized long ago, but that realization is just coming to fruition now. I'm kind of looking around, looking at people, and just telling myself like that person has a story, right? If I see a homeless guy, um, walking around on the sidewalk, I tell myself that guy has a story. There's the reason that guy's there, and he has a lot to say. He just needs the right environment to say it or to be able to say it. And then you look at people in your school, right? You might know them by name, but you don't really know them. So if you're out here and you want to express yourself more, you want to get to know new people and experience new things, I recommend that those people that you don't really know, just by their names, go ahead and spend some time with them. Get to know their life stories. Get them to know your life stories. Get them to care about you. And get yourself to care about them. But there's also a dilemma that we're going to be facing if we get too close with people, right? And we call this the hedgehog's dilemma. Now, I forgot who proposed this or who was the proponent of this theory or who wrote this out. But it says that people are like hedgehogs. You know those spiky animals? I won't be able to edit a picture in of that animal because I'm too lazy, or I just don't want to. I don't feel like it. Who gives a fuck? But the theory says that people are like hedgehogs in a way that hedgehogs are prone to the cold, and during winter months they need each other to feel warm, so they need to snuggle up to each other. But we have to remember they have spikes everywhere, so whenever they get too close they hurt each other. But they need to get close. So what I'm saying here is like, just like hedgehogs, we are seeking camaraderie, friendships, and love from other people. It might be our families, friends, or romantic love, but we're seeking connections with them, even strangers, right? Or peers or coworkers, acquaintances. You want some sort of thing from them, whether it's love, approval, friendship, compliments, validation. We want something from them always. But when we get too close to them, or when they get too close to us, it's either we hurt them or they hurt us, or we just hurt each other. Through many ways and many reasons. There's many ways to hurt other people. Aside from just breaking their hearts, you could disappoint them. You could mislead them. They could fool you. They could lie to you. You could lie to them. There's so many ways to hurt other people. You could be insensitive to their traumas. to the problems that they're dealing with. You could invalidate them. They could invalidate you, and you'll get hurt, and they'll get hurt too. But I don't think that matters that much, because if we're not willing to take that risk of being hurt or hurting others, then why are we alive? Why are we trying to seek success? Why are we trying to connect with other people? Then what's there to life if we don't want any of these problems, if we don't want any of these struggles? In fact, I kind of like that I'm struggling right now a little bit. I kind of like that I'm experiencing stress. I kind of like that sometimes I get anxious. I like that sometimes I'm sad because it makes me feel more alive. I like that I'm angry sometimes because anger isn't bad. There's a place in the world for violence and anger. If you want to defend yourself, if you have to defend yourself from a physical attacker, you're going to need some violence and anger. But you're going to need to know when to use it. If you're feeling something wrong, you're going to need to be sad. Your body is telling you to be sad for a reason. But you don't also want to give in or become a slave to sadness and depression. If something is happening in your life where you have to be afraid, you have to doubt yourself a little bit, it's good to be anxious and it's good to be stressed. But again, you don't want to be commanded or dominated by your stress, right? It's good to be disgusted by things because that's your body telling you what's safe and what's not. It's good to be happy because being happy just feels freaking good. But at the same time, it's also bad to be too happy. Too happy that you become ignorant. Too happy that you turn into an invalidator of other people's problems. It's also bad to be too successful because you become out of touch. You lose your humanity. So it's bad to be a lot of things, and it's good to be a lot of things either. And yeah, those are just the things that I've been thinking about recently. And I don't know why I'm doing this pod in English or this podcast in English. Maybe it's because I don't think in Filipino. Even if I talk to my friends, I'm still thinking in English. I just translate it. Like in the past episodes, you see me laughing, joking around in Tagalog or in Filipino. That's because I have to do that, or I'll be out of place if I don't speak English. But yeah, this is just how I think. So whatever I'm saying right now is just no filter, my brain just pouring out. And I actually remember we once had this finals examination in one of our subjects, theories of personality, which is notorious for psych students to be a hated subject because I don't know why. I don't know why students hate that subject. It's actually really interesting for me. Studying the different theories of personality, behavior, learning, and development, right? But during that final exam, our professor asked us to, or tasked us to, create our own theory of personality. Now we could choose a specific facet of personality to theorize upon, but I chose to do a multifaceted theory, a theory that covers the whole personality, right? It's basically just a mix of Freud and Carl Jung, and it was really good. I was really proud of that actually, but it was also not true because I just made it up. Those theories by Freud and Jung are actually really impossible to invalidate. That's why they're not reliable as theories. You get what I'm saying? Because there's no situation where you can question them. That's the fun thing about science too, is that there's always room for doubt in science and in learning in general. Because science is one of those things where failure is accepted. Failure is a must. You have to find holes in your own theories and in your own ideas, or else they'll be wrong. Even if it kind of doesn't make sense in some ways, right? Like logically, if you think about it, if you can't prove something wrong, then it should be right, right? But no, if you think about it deeper, it's actually worse if you can't prove something wrong. Like if there's no reality where that thing could be wrong. I don't know. I hope you understand what that is. I know you understand what that is. What that is that I'm talking about. Anyways, I'm getting kind of sleepy. Funny because my body clock isn't what it used to be. I actually used to work at offshore company online, and I had a different schedule back then. I'm glad that I got my body clock to normal. It's actually so hard to do that. But now I have what I call a teenager's body clock, even if I'm not a teenager anymore, wherein you sleep really late at night or in the morning or at dawn, and then you feel kind of tired during this time of day, and then after that, you don't feel sleepy at all until the next, you know, midnight or dawn. Anyways, um, yeah, these are just things I wanted to say. I hope you kind of learned about more about who I am and more about how I think. Because in the next few episodes, when I'm gonna be with other people, with my friends, and I'm gonna be having different groups of friends, I'm not gonna be able to talk like this. I'm not gonna be able to express myself as much. So basically, what I'm saying is this is our chance to get to know each other, so that you know who the guy responsible for this thing is. So you know that when I'm out there asking questions to my friends, that I'm also thinking about stuff. You know, I also have things to say. And yeah, I'm actually excited for this next week, because I'm gonna be with a different set of friends for the next episode. Hopefully, um, they're gonna be the next guests, and these are actually my friends from senior high. And I'm planning on really strategizing how I group my friends up, because I could never do a podcast with them all at once. They all have different types of activities to do. They all have different core beliefs. I'm kind of a chameleon in a way that out of all these friend groups, I can kind of blend in. So like Lakad Boys, right? The people you've been seeing these past two episodes, they are very focused on their core values. They're people who are driven and ambitious, and they're very understanding and family oriented and traditional in a lot of ways, right? And they're a fun group to be with. So that's their stick. That's their whole thing. Next up, I'm trying to be with my senior high school friends. Now, I think that we're gonna be talking about more abstract things. Just because there are people there who are more abstract thinkers, and then there are also people there who are not really serious about life like the other group is. So I think it's gonna be a wild mix next time around. Then after that, I have my classmates in the university, which I'm also planning to do a pod with. I think they're gonna be a lot alike with the first group, but the main difference is they're my classmates. So um, there's gonna be an element of that when you hear it. And then I'm gonna also try to do one with, you know, my boys, which is well, they're actually people I used to play video games with, but recently just quit playing, so I haven't gotten enough time to like play with them. And I'll just go ahead and do a pod. Hopefully, we can kind of reconnect because I've been kind of feeling guilty because I don't really have the energy or the motivation to play anymore. So if you guys are watching or listening to this, I'm sorry if I haven't been playing. I My body doesn't want to play anymore. Maybe one day I'll find some motivation or some inspiration to play again, and I'll play with you guys. But for now, I think we should go ahead and do the pod. They're gonna be the funny batch. They're gonna be the foul, wild, freaking, swearing and cancelable batch. Um, yeah, it's gonna be nuts. So you guys just tune in, listen in. If this podcast somehow helps you sleep, that's great. If this is gonna be the pod that's gonna be help you sleep, or if this is gonna be the pod that you're listening to while you're cooking breakfast or whatever, if I'm just background noise to you, like my rambling just goes on and on and on, that's great as well. I actually appreciate that because I do that to my podcast or to the podcast that I listen to. So yeah, if I could be that, then I've achieved my goal, which is to just scream into the void and don't really care if I'm heard or not. If I'm heard, cool, but scream into a void and just for people to know that I'm screaming into the void, because I want to leave this life and have an impact. That's like kind of my new purpose now. During the time that I was in a relationship, I kind of lost my life purpose. I was just kind of being a partner, gonna be a husband someday, and gonna be a father someday. I think that was my path, and it's kind of sad that I wasn't able to hold on to what myself really wants, which is to die knowing that I did something right, and hopefully one day when all the people I care about and all the people I love are looking down at my casket or my grave, they're going to be thinking that he was great, he did a lot, and he impacted my life a lot. You know? I want to make my mark in this world, and I'm not afraid to say that because fuck it, I don't care what you think. I'm just tired of caring about what other people think. And you just wait and see. I'm gonna be something special, or perhaps I already am. So yeah, thank you for listening. That's nearly an hour of just me talking. Jesus, fuck. If you listened to this and you enjoyed it, then congratulations to you and congratulations to me. I kind of achieved something there. So yeah, tune in again next time for a group episode, and then every Wednesday we're gonna be doing solo episodes for you to get to know me more. Next time it's gonna be more structured. I'm gonna try to get my other camera to work, and I'm gonna try to fix all this junk in the back. So yeah, that's gonna be it. Thank you guys and girls and everyone for watching and listening. I appreciate all of you. Honestly, the support has been great. And let's go ahead and keep this going. Y'all have a nice day or a nice night. And stay safe. Thank you.